What's up, Coach Britt? How are you doing?
Doing great. I'm doing great,
Oh
man. Thanks
man.
for having me.
Oh, thank you so much for taking out the time to come on and do this. And on top of doing that, I just find out today that bang, man, it's your birthday too.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I hit 50. It's great. It's an every day alive is a great blessing. So it's another day to be here and spend time with family and friends and and get back. You know what I mean from them, right? Like so that's what keeps us going every single day.
Right, man. That's awesome, man. Awesome. And welcome to the 50 Club, man. That's great. Hopefully it gets better. uh,
Yes, indeed.
well, I guess we'll start off just if you want to just give like a brief history of how you got. First of all, let me tell people uh, about your facility. You have Las Vegas Combat Academy,
Yes.
and I mean you have a YouTube also, and your YouTube is amazing. You've got uh, Instagram and everything else, I'm sure, and we'll talk about
Yeah.
that. And we'll post links, but
Yep.
starting off, just a brief history. How did you get into uh, combat sports?
Oh, so yeah. Martial arts has always been part of my life. When I was a kid, we moved around quite a bit. My mom was kind of a gypsy, so we moved around a little bit, and I would always, be the new kid. So when you're a new kid, you're going to get into some scraps, right? Like this is how it is. And so I trained in martial arts of different styles, and not intentionally, but by proxy, just having moved around so much, it was kind of an MMA style. I would train a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and then develop my own athleticism to go with the skill. And it wasn't until I got really serious about Filipino martial arts that I kind of stayed in the system for a while. So I trained in La Tosa Eskrima for over a couple years, like about almost 3 years in the Bay Area. And then I played college football in the whole bit, got out, was looking for something to do. Um, it ended up going into the Army, and I was in a special operations group in the Army in PSYOPs, which I was not one of these door kicking, Delta Forces guys. That was not my job. But by proxy, I was around them a lot. And we got to cross train with a lot of other special operations groups and even some from outside of the country and trained with some guys from Israel. They were doing Krav Maga. And I was like, well, this is pretty cool. This is pretty brutal and fast and explosive. And it's everything that you need in a self defense system. So I really got the bug, started training Krav Maga. I apprenticed for 5 years before I became an instructor. Um, I'm a third degree black belt in Krav Maga under John Whitman. I was also the first American instructor ever certified by Sergeant Major Nir Maman of the IDF. He was the director of the Krav Maga program for the counterterrorism division, counterterror school in Israel. He's actually in Israel right now, in Gaza right now fighting. So I was the first American instructor certified there. In addition to that, I'm also a certified fight coach under Kyrian Fitzgibbons at CSA, Combat Sports um, in the Bay Area, CSA gym. And so we're a bit of a hybrid. So CSA has done it on a much more, I think, more successful level than we have as far as transitioning from a Krav Maga self defense school to a fight gym. They have cornered some world champions there. I mean, Miriam Nakamoto and Zoila Frausto and I mean, so countless other UFC fighters have come in and out of that gym. And so I learned the fight game from Kyrian, and I'm also really good friends with Dewey Cooper. With training, so I got really serious about the fight game because one of my athletes was like, "Hey, coach, I want to fight." And rather than watch them be coached by someone else, I was like, "Well, you know what? I'll go develop myself as a fight coach and get that put in that work." And so, in MMA in our gym, we have done quite well, both as AMI and pro. I've got one guy who's getting ready to turn pro. My other guy, Desmond, is a pro right now. He's done quite well. We've won 6 AMI titles in different weight classes around the country. We fought in Tough Enough, which is the biggest AMI pro-am event, in the country. We've won multiple belts in that organization as well. And we won at Bellator when we cornered at Bellator. So I haven't cornered in the UFC yet, but hopefully that's in the cards at some point. The funny thing is, I'm not a really big MMA fan. I don't really watch MMA if my fighters aren't involved in it. I like the building of a fighter. I like the strategy. I like the camaraderie with the fighters that we have because we've been blessed here in Vegas. We train with some of the best fighters in the world. My fighters are sparring with guys, world champions, UFC world champions every single day. People, we don't talk about it. But
Sure.
we have training partners at Syndicate MMA. We have trained with and fight against Extreme Couture. We have fought Greg Jackson's gym and won. We have fought when Vanderlei had a gym here. We fought Vanderlei's gym and won. So we've done quite well in this arena, and regardless of what people say, because everyone's got an opinion. Everyone thinks that their style is the best style, right? Like nobody wants to give the other style credit. And my whole thing is like, look, man, you're either going to do this the right way or not do it the right way, right? Like you can call it whatever you want to call it, but at the end of the day, preparing a fighter to go into a cage is a different mentality and a different thing than preparing people to survive outside. Very rare are the coaches that can do both. Yeah. So, and a lot of these times, like even in martial arts, I truly believe most people who go to martial arts, they're going to learn self-defense. That's why they want to go there. And what happens is they get pushed into like MMA or pushed into Muay Thai or pushed into BJJ. And those things certainly can be used in self-defense scenarios, but they're not exclusively self-defense, right? So like in Muay Thai, what's the defense against someone who comes at you with a baseball bat? They don't have one. That's not part of Muay Thai. In Jiu-Jitsu, they have it, maybe not, depending on what school they come from. Right? And certainly don't have it in boxing. That doesn't mean that the boxer or Muay Thai practitioner or jiu-jitsu guy wouldn't fare well in the fight. They're a trained fighter. They'll be much better off than the average human being. But for our purposes, we live in that world. What we train for is reality based. So like this morning in my morning class this morning, I had them all put on white t-shirts at the end of class, gave them markers, and they were trying to kill each other. Right? And you wanted to see where the markers were going. Like, can you make the defense? Is this a lethal shot? Right. Yes. 100%. So then, and people are like, man, how often do knife attacks happen? I'm like, they happen every day. This morning in Las Vegas, we had an officer involved shooting regarding a knife attack this morning. I also served on what they call CERT here in the Critical Incident Response Team here in Vegas with the Metropolitan Police Department. We basically adjudicated all the cases of use of force and officer involved shootings. And during that 2.5 year period, I was probably on 12 to 15 different cases where officer involved shooting. Literally, we're up at 3 a.m, walking behind the yellow tape, walking the scene, getting all the information, listening to all the calls, reading the officer report, reading their after action review, the whole bit. And our whole job was to determine whether or not the shooting was A, in line with department policy, and B, in line with the law. We had full subpoena powers, the whole bit. I can talk about it now because I'm no longer active on the board. But when you're active on the board, you can't even talk about it. So it's one of those things where I'm like, every aspect of combat. That's why I changed the name from Las Vegas Krav Maga. We wanted to be Las Vegas Combat Academy so we can really cover the whole gamut. So we do have Krav Maga, Muay Thai, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. We're in the Gracie line Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with Level Up. We have a black belt instructor at Level Up. I have former boxers with over 200 fights teaching my boxing classes. I have a great cadre of instructors here. And it's not just me. It's not just Coach Britt. Although people, obviously, they see me all the time because I'm the face and I'm the boss. I get it. But I've got a great staff, and I don't have anyone on my staff that hasn't been with me at least 8 years. Man, no, great. Actually, now it's 10. Yeah, 10 years. So everybody's been with me 10 years or longer, which is pretty phenomenal in this business because we've all been together for so long. I have complete faith in my staff. They are empowered to do what they need to do to make students better. That's their marching orders. Let's get them better. Let's be consistent. We want to train everyone. Like everybody's welcome here. Like that's the thing I tell everyone all the time. If you're fat, out of shape, you got one arm, you have one leg, you have ADD, whatever the issues are, right? Whatever they are, I train people on the spectrum. I was
going to pull up a picture here, man. Let me pull up a picture here, man.
Yeah.
Here's one right here that I loved it. Yeah. Love it.
Yeah, Dimitri. Yeah, this kid. So that kid has just learned recently how to live on his own, right? He's and he comes in and he works really, really hard. The students love working with him because of his effort. Training someone like Dimitri, it requires patience, but you don't want to baby him, right? You don't want to you got to make him work hard, understanding that he has some challenges sometimes, I think, processing and then trying to do. But once his brain accepts it and his body can do, the kid, you wouldn't know looking at him that he's on the spectrum. And he works so hard and he's a big strong kid. He's one of the nicest human beings you could ever meet. Like this guy comes in the gym and he brightens up the entire gym. Like he says hello to everyone. He knows everyone's name. If you're a new person, he'll walk right up to you. Hi, I'm Dimitri. Like he is honestly one of the best ambassadors for the gym that we could ever ask for. And people always talk about coach, you've given him so much. That is not true. He's given us much more than I've given him. So he's a great kid and another great story here.
When I saw that video, man, I have an adult daughter with cerebral palsy, and will live with me forever, and need help forever. But I mean, when I saw that video, I was like, wow, man. I mean, I'm already, this guy's got a great gym, and everything else and all that. And then I saw that and I'm like, oh man, this is an awesome program. And you get it. They give you a lot more than you're giving him.
100%. 100%. Like, look, someone told me a long time ago, it's like, if all you want to do in this business is teach people how to punch and kick, then you should get out of the business, because it's not about that. We're teaching people how to stand up tall. We're teaching people how to overcome, depression, overcome adversity in the form of what other people have given them. Like I always tell my students, I'm like, people pack up a suitcase at some point and they hand it to you and tell you to carry it. And all the shit that's in that suitcase is all the negativity that they've had and the stuff that they've placed on you. They don't even know why they had it, but now they're expecting you to carry it. And I try to encourage them, drop that suitcase. You don't need anything in there. It's just slowing you down. That's other people's, impression or idea of what you may or may not become. Well, their opinion is moot. Your opinion of yourself and the work you're willing to do is what matters. So look, doing this, you have to have thick skin, because there's always going to be people on the internet with an opinion, this and that and the other, yada yada yada. And is it frustrating sometimes? Yes, because I'm opening myself up to criticism by its very nature, right? I get that, but it's like, this dude would not talk to me like this if we were standing in person. Like come on, dude.
Yeah,
like
I'll get it all the time. I know what you mean.
I would tune you up if you said, like, I'm from the old school. Like I don't all this walk with the butterflies and be peaceful stuff. That's cool if you're cool. But if you're not gonna be cool, then I'm not gonna be cool. Like, so you get these people, these armchair quarterbacks, and these dudes living at home with their mom talking about all the shit that they would do, or how they have guns, these amosexuals and all. I'm like, dude, I carry every day. Like, what do you like?
Exactly.
This is like, I know it's new to you, but it's not new to me, right? Like,
you think it's so cool and everything. I had a firearms instructor teach me one time, and I did a short about it yesterday, and it was this: you don't win every shootout. You don't win every self-defense. The best thing is to avoid this stuff
100%,
as best as possible. Even no matter how much you're packing, that guy gets one fatal shot off to you, even if you stop him or if he sticks you good, you're done, man.
And also too, you could be 100% correct, defend yourself using a firearm or self-defense, and this guy dies or whatever, suffers some major injury, and you have to spend $200,000 defending yourself.
For sure.
Like, and so that's why I carry an insurance policy, an umbrella policy for stuff like that. But so there is this, I think, a balance in what we do, right? Like, okay, yeah, I know I train and we do all these things, and I know we can fight. Look, man, people are like, well, you never fought in the ring. No, I was playing football like back then. Like I played, like I'm 50 now, so I'm a little older than that. So my window to fight long since passed in a cage. But because of my work in private security and the stuff that I was doing in the Army, I literally went to work every day and had a fight every single day when I was working private security. I started working in loss prevention in Oakland in the grocery stores. Plain clothes, go outside, stop the people from stealing. And I'm talking about hard rocks. I ran into felons, guys who were convicted murderers, guys who were gangbangers, and they wanted to fight. Like they were like trying to fight. And I wasn't armed. Like I wasn't armed, but I only had one job where I was armed, but the other ones I was not armed. And even if you were armed, it's not like you could pull your gun out like because someone stole something.
Yeah, because somebody steals something or whatever, and they've got the up because they know what they're going to do before you. Yeah, I did the 100%. Same thing. It's crazy. I did the same thing in the liquor business.
Yep.
Plainclothes security and that type. It's nuts because I know exactly where you come from.
You know what
you're talking about that, and
people have no idea how dangerous that job is, right? Like they have no idea. And so, look, thank God I was able to get out of that unscathed. I had some really, really bad fights, and I had some really, some tough learning experiences through that. And I'm not proud of, like people always talk about, I talk about violence in a way that I think it can come across as being somewhat dismissive of the impact of violence. I understand that, but I'm not doing it to do that. I'm doing it because like I've done it and I've dealt with it, and this is what it is, right? Like we understand it. I hope I never have to hit another human being in my life. I hope I never have to do that. So anytime you're dealing with violence, there is a science that there's science that happens, right? So there's the physiological, there's the emotional, right? There's the mental, and then there's like the nervous system, muscular system. It's all these things that are impacted by when we're dealing with violence. And so it is not the same thing just to sit and go, okay, I'm going to teach an armbar. Yes, you have to teach the proper way to do the armbar. But then you have to talk about, okay, well, how bad is this fight that you got knocked down on your back and this guy's on top of you in your guard and you're outside? What are the other things that are potentially now going to become dangerous to you? And it's not that jujitsu doesn't work. It works. It's great. It's a great science. I'm a blue belt in jujitsu, right? Somebody might accuse me of sandbagging because I've grappled so much that I know probably more than the average blue belt, but I'm not a purple belt. Does that make sense? Like I'm not on the mat, not yet anyway. So I get that. So I always think in terms of every martial art is good for what it's used for. It's a tool. So if I have this toolbox and I go to the job and I open my toolbox and all I have is a hammer, every problem there is going to look like a nail. And so it's because I haven't expanded my toolbox. So when you're grappling and understand, I always tell my Krav Maga, like I make my Krav Maga students, they cannot get to blue belt in Krav Maga unless they're at least 4-stripe white belt in jiu-jitsu, because it's all basic stuff. They can't. I won't promote them. They have to go spend time on the mat. And I want them to understand that grappling helps your Krav Maga, and Muay Thai helps your grappling, and boxing helps your Muay Thai, and Krav Maga helps all those things.
Man.
Yeah. So you look at this. I'm actually writing a book about this. Forget being a black belt. You don't need a black belt to be able to defend yourself. I'm telling people, if you get a blue belt in Krav Maga and a blue belt in Jiu-Jitsu, you are going to destroy 99.9% of the people walking the face of the earth. You will absolutely tattoo them. They have no idea because you've been sparring, you've been rolling, you've done weapons defenses, you're using firearms. You've been in the mix way more than the average martial artist will do. Why is fight class at every gym the least attended relative to the amount of people that are enrolled in the school? Because most people aren't about that life. And that's most people who are in the life. They're not about that life.
They're not even about it.
No, they're like, I don't want to get hit. I don't want to get punched. I don't want to get kicked. So I get that. So the business model becomes train me like a fighter, don't hit me like a fighter. Yeah. Now, look, that's a smart business model. You're going to make a lot of money doing that. But you can't lie to your students. Like you can't tell your students, hey, because you punched that pad and because you broke that board or because you did this armbar and someone who wasn't really resisting you, and because you know the techniques, that makes you a black belt or makes you X belt or what? One of my biggest complaints with children black belts. I don't believe in children black belts. I think a black belt, they'll tell you, well, black belt doesn't mean that you've mastered anything. It just means that you're ready to move on. That's nonsense. That's straight out of the sales book. Look, then why give them a black belt then? If it doesn't matter, then why are you doing it? Right? So my thing is like, okay, be well-rounded in everything, build your toolbox, and then make it your own. There's a great video of Emi, the founder of Krav Maga. Emi was a boxer wrestler. That was his thing. And then he's a Hungarian. And so when Nazis come to take the Jews, he starts to develop Krav Maga as a way for the people to fight back. So that's the first thing that jumped out about Krav Maga. Just like most systems, if it is a really combat-based system, in other words, it was created out of necessity to survive, then generally you can trust it to work in combat. Yes. Right? If it was created for sport, you have to see where it can be manipulated for it to work in combat.
You have to tweak it and make
you have to tweak it.
You have to tweak it. Yeah, right. Gotcha.
Right?
100%.
So like I always tell my students in MMA, when I hear this is illegal or this particular move is illegal or eye poke is illegal, and I'm in the pre-fight meetings with the fighters and they're really, really conscious on, hey, make sure you guys aren't extending your fingers at all. We don't want any accidental eye pokes. They tell the fighters you're responsible for your weapon. So if you fire that inside leg kick and you're fighting against a southpaw and you hit him in the groin, you're going to get a warning the first time. But if it happens again, we're going to take a point from you. And why are these strikes illegal? because they cause too much damage. And if you're talking about a self-defense system, anything that causes too much damage should be in your toolbox.
That's what I want in my system. Exactly. Anything.
I want it.
Exactly.
Yes,
Right.
that's
In
okay.
fact,
This works.
self-defense system should be based around what's illegal in sporting fights, right?
100%. 100%. So people are like, that's crazy that you're teaching people to kick people in the groin. And I'm like, well, we don't want a fair fight in the street. We want every advantage we can get. Remember, we're not talking about going around and starting bar fights or going around and starting stuff. We're not like these guys are like doctors and lawyers and teachers and house moms, and they have families to go home to. They're responsible adults. We're not talking about putting them in a situation where we teach them to avoid. But when you go, you go. When it's time to go,
100%.
you fight like the third monkey trying to get on Noah's Ark. Like it is that simple. Like you have to get after it. If the training doesn't get you to that point, then the training is to me failure, right? Like in other words, we can teach all the techniques that we want, but if we're not doing anything under stress, you do like so today. Perfect example. My class, we started with the focus mitts, and we're making the defense, controlling, getting inside, make the knee. Okay, then we put on the markers. The first couple of rounds, they just stabbed at them. Then the last couple of rounds, I had them stand and spin around in the circle, all the defenders, for 10 seconds. And as soon as 10 counted down, boom, anybody with a marker could come from any angle trying to attack you. And now we're stress testing this now. Now you're dizzy. Maybe now you got hit. Maybe you had too much to drink. Maybe whatever the issues are, you have to still contend with this now, right? So I think it's vitally important to do that. And all the Krav Maga instructors that I know, they, especially ones that come out of our lineage, we all do this all the time. We're always looking for ways to make the defense fail so that we can find the holes in our own defense. And there's holes in every defense.
Sure.
Is it like we can look at it and be like, oh, well, that ain't going to work. Just like I could foolishly look at someone and say, hey, that arm bar isn't going to work. That is an incomplete sentence. Hey, using the arm bar in that particular situation might not be the best situation. However, if that's all you train on, right? If all you train is to grapple, then you're going to grapple your way out of it. You're going to think grappling is the source. You know why? Because you have to. If you don't believe that, you're screwed. Right?
Right.
So,
no, I know. That's your tool. That's the whole point of, like, if you just have a hammer, that's all you got to work with.
That's it.
But if all you got is grappling, that's what you're going to work with 100%.
Yes, and at that point, you have to hope that your grappling is either A, better than their grappling, or B, can resolve the situation in the environment that you're using it. Right? So I know a guy. Look, I tell people all the time, and this is a true story. I had a student of mine. This is why he became my student. He was a brown belt at the time of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Got into it in a bar with a guy, actually double legs the guy, takes the guy down, takes the guy's back, locks up rear naked choke. Everything's going well. And then the guy's buddy came up and started punching my student from behind, punching him, hitting him. He disengages with that guy, goes after the guy who was punching him, starts to feel woozy, and realized these weren't punches, they were stabs. He got stabbed 17 times.
Jeez, man.
Right? And he almost died, almost bled out.
Oh,
so people will look at it and go, well, that's because jiu-jitsu sucks. No. That has nothing to do with jiu-jitsu sucking. That has everything to do with he was using a tactic that was bad for the environment that he was in. Right. I'm not going to take someone to the ground and commit to a grapple and commit to all this while there's other people around. Now, so here's my rule. In the street, I'll use jiu-jitsu, but I will not do jiu-jitsu. In other words, look, if I get taken down, I'll reverse him. I'll use jiu-jitsu, get to knee on belly, get to a better position. But I'm not going to stay in the grapple and try and submit him. That's like, to me, that's wasting time. And by the way, I can knock him out faster than I can choke him out. Right. So now that someone's watching this right now in jiu-jitsu, going to be like, yeah, but you know what? I'm really good at it. You know what? Cool. So here's what I would say to fix it. And this is my encouragement. And I do this in my jiu-jitsu program. If they're spending too much time on the ground, kind of dicking around a little bit, I will slide training knives out while they're rolling. Or I'll have my guys put on shin guards, walk over to the jiu-jitsu mat, and if they're down on the ground for longer than 5 seconds, you start kicking all of them when they're on the ground. And they're like, hey, what's going on? What's going on? It's like, no, this is street. Yes. Get out of the jiu-jitsu mentality. Get out of the game mentality. We're not playing games out there. Like if I'm going to do an arm bar on you, I'm going to break your arm out there. There's no tap. Like if I have to get a guy down, I get him a hold and he taps, whatever. Like you should have did whatever you did because I'm not responding.
We got to this point and I ain't stopping.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like that's like, and people are like, oh my God, that's a goon mentality. Yes, in the street, I fight like a goon.
That's a me live mentality.
Yes.
That's a 100%. Listen, I'm just like you, man. I don't want to have to hit another person in my life.
Nope.
I don't want to have to fire my firearms. I don't have to use my tactical pin. You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't even want to do that. But
Nope.
if I'm forced to do these things, it's balls to the walls 100%.
Yeah, no, you're gonna get full dose, brother. Like here's the thing. I try to talk to you. Like I try to talk to you and talk sense to you, and at least get to the point where we can exist and stay away from each other. But if you're not willing to do that and you're willing to push the issue and you think it's gonna get physical, I have to let people know, like, all right, like I'm okay with that. Like, like I've been there before. So you're not dealing with someone who's like my heart is not pumping Kool-Aid. So if that's what it's about. Now, as I've gotten older, I've bought guys more beers and calmed them down.
Sure.
Hey man, let me buy you a beer, bro. What?
Great technique.
Let me get you a beer. And they're like, "What are you drinking?" "Oh, I'm drinking Heineken." And they're looking at me like I'm a Martian, right? They're like, "Huh?" I'm like, "Hey, what's your name?" "Steve." "Okay. Hey, give me a Heineken for my friend Steve, and give me one too." "Steve, did you come here tonight to have a good time?" "Because I did." Right? I come in to relax and blow off some steam for the week. And you don't look like a bad dude, brother. So let's just cheer. Like, and at the end of the night, his arms around me, we're singing Sweet Caroline, and everything's good.
Smart,
Right?
man.
I don't have to knock this guy out, and I don't have to deal with the consequences potentially legally or civilly from it. Steve's in a better place at the end of the night. I'm in a better place tonight, and our interaction together has been way more positive than negative, and that's a good human experience. It's so much better than busting the guy up. And maybe I lose the fight, but he ain't walking away the way he walked into it.
Hey, nobody was going to give you a medal either way. You weren't going to get a new belt. You weren't going to get nothing. There's no prize in
There's
self-defense.
no business. Yes, you get a box of nothing.
You get nothing. You get nothing at the end of self-defense.
Yes. And your ego, you go home and tell your woman how great you were in this bar fight, right? Like, come on, bro. Like, I'm 50 years old. I have no business. I tell my wife was laughing the other day. She's like, sweetheart, you never get it. You don't get into it with people. I'm like, I'm too old to be fighting, and I'm damn too old to be losing. Too old to be losing.
Too young to die. Too young to die and too old to fight. Right?
I'm so I'm the wrong guy to mess with because I'm not going to die and I'm not losing the fight. That's it keeps me in check. So now I'm like, did this guy really do something to deserve like a trip to ER?
Yeah.
Okay, probably not. Now there are certain go buttons, right? Like you come up and hit me or physically like do that, then I gotta go. You grab my wife or my kids or my family or someone I love.
It's go time.
That's gonna be a problem. That's gonna be a problem. I'm not there to negotiate at that point, right?
No, there's no more at that point. Now you've already passed negotiate. Talk and that type of stuff. Negotiate. And listen, man, I was watching the one you did on an assault. What constitutes an assault?
Oh my God.
That a lot of people don't understand.
Bro, that blew my mind. First of all, the response to that video, we put that up and in one day we had 3.8 million views on it in one day. Okay. And that was just only on Instagram. We had another like 2 million views on it on TikTok, on Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. Right. So, but I'm reading the comments and I'm like, are you like, you got to be kidding me. Like you didn't even bother Googling it before you respond. You don't know that
they're just going, just saying whatever.
Yes, and they're just like, well, that's in my state we don't have assault. I'm like, okay, knucklehead, listen, whatever your state calls it, it is never okay or legal to ball your fist up and walk towards someone and tell them you're gonna kick their ass and posture yourself. You're gonna do it. That is illegal, no matter what section they put it under, whether it's menacing, assault, whatever it is. So that was the point of the video, and the point of the video was, I want my students to understand when is it okay for them to engage this person.
Right.
Like this guy's menacing and walking me. Okay, I try to create space. Now he's encroaching. You don't have to wait for them to hit you in order for you to defend yourself.
For to defend yourself, right?
It's crazy. That's
Let me see if I can pull the picture up. Keep going. I'm sorry, Coach.
No, it's okay. Like I'm like so we get all these comments, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, how do you not know this? So it just so happens that the next day there was an incident, and I believe it happened in Canada, and we got the video. Guy does exactly what I did in the video. Exactly what I did. He did it to a waiter because he was trying to dine and dash. Mm-hmm. They identified him. The police went and arrested him. And guess what they charged him with? Assault. Because of his posturing, his intent, and that the victim felt like imminent danger was there. Imminent bodily harm was there. That's all that's required for it to be assault. You have these people who think, oh, well, I have to be battered. And I even broke down the difference between assault and battery.
So I can't respond.
Right. So my thing is like, if a guy's standing in front of me, balling his fist up, telling me he's gonna kick my ass, and I'm like, all right, I'm trying to reason with this guy. Like, hey man, like I don't want any problem with you. Like, chill, right? And he keeps doing it, and he gets in striking range. He's gonna get hit.
Right.
Like, I'm gonna hit him first. That's not like that. And I'm going to articulate why I did it. Because he's posturing himself. I told him to stop. He didn't stop. I tried to create space. He kept coming forward, and I thought he was going to hit me. So I hit him first. It's called preemptive self-defense, and that's a thing. That's a thing. That's different from mutual combat. I think people are confusing the two. I think people are like, hey, if I MF you and you MF me, and then we to this fight, right? And we fight, then that's mutual combat. Well, that's not the same thing as being attacked. That's not the same thing. And so it's important for self-defense students to understand what that kind of chain looks like, right? Like how things, like we have the beginning, right? The pre-incident, the incident, and then post-incident. All those things matter because I need to be able to articulate why I got to the point where we had to physically intervene or physically confront this person. If you can't clearly articulate fear of imminent danger or what they were doing furtively or suspiciously or even overtly to injure you, then you're gonna have a problem claiming self-defense. You're gonna have a problem. But if you understand what those things are, it's not difficult at all. It's an easy conversation to have. And my final thing in that was like everyone's saying no. I'm like, okay, go do it to a cop and let me know how it works out with you. Go walk up to a cop, fist balled up, tell him you're gonna kick his ass, and walking toward him and tell me if he's not gonna put you down and arrest you immediately.
Something's gonna happen. You're gonna either
Something's
get
gonna
tased. You're gonna
Yep.
something's gonna happen.
Yeah, you're probably going to end up eating the fruit cocktail at the local prison jail that night. That's what's going to happen.
You may get your fruit cocktail taken, huh?
Right.
Oh,
right.
no,
So
man,
so I don't understand why people do that. Like they don't understand. And then they look at me and they're like, well, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, yeah, I've only arrested 500 people cuffs on in my life. I've only dealt with that. I've only written multiple, like literally thousands of police reports. I've only, been in security forces teams and the whole thing. That's all I've done. Yeah. But you're sitting at home living with your mom, typing on a computer. You know more than I do.
Know that you don't know what
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, okay. Whatever. Hey, man, keep your belief and do what you want to do. You don't like it? Tough. I look at people all the time like, you think I'm wrong? Okay. Then I have attorneys. There were attorneys who I don't know coming on and going, yeah, that's literally textbook. Literally, I would make this argument in court.
Right.
That's assault. This is battery. Done.
Yeah. Because it's the law and you know it, bro. I mean, Coach, it's that simple, but you still, like you said, man, it's constant, man.
Some people are contrarian by nature, though. Like, this is what I've learned doing this business. Like, I didn't really get serious about social media until about a year and a half ago. Wow. We just kind of I was like, nobody wants to hear me talk about this shit. Like, whatever. Like the world, because I look on the internet and I see there's all kinds of fight instructors, and all that kind of stuff, right? And I think it's good. I don't look. There's some that are hot garbage and some that are really, really, really good. But for whatever reason, our message is resonating with people. And I have some ideas. I think it just comes from a place where I think people can sense that, like, no, I'm authentically telling you what you need to do to survive. Right. Number one, but I'm also encouraging you to be a better person, right? Like what I mean by that is not like pious where you're trying to get into heaven. I'm not I'm not qualified to get anybody into the afterlife, right? That's somebody else's job.
I'm working on my own self, man.
I got it. Yeah, man. I'm still trying to convince myself that a bottle of whiskey won't fix everything. I haven't convinced myself. So what I mean by being a better person is like making better choices for you and your family, right? Like saying, okay, am I willing to take a shot at my ego? Like this guy MFs me and calls me a punk or a pussy, whatever he's gonna say to me, right? Mm-hmm. Am I willing to take that shot at my ego so that me and my family can get out of this situation? My wife and kids are with me. I'm not trying to get into it with anyone because bullets don't have a name on them when they come out. And I also don't want my children seeing their dad go complete savage. Right? Because that's like, I'm always reminded of there's a great movie, The Patriot with Mel Gibson. It was years ago. And it was like a Civil War era movie. Not Civil War, Revolutionary War era movie. Anyway, there's a poignant scene in the movie where his two younger sons actually see him go savage and do someone bad, like with a club, and he just loses it, right? but he's an old warrior. He fought like that before. And now the look of his younger son really seeing their dad for the first time and going, well, this is the guy I've been living with. This is the guy that raised me. This is what he's capable of. And I think people have to reach that point at some, like in their life, where you connect to that inner savage, and it comes out when you need it to come out. Now, it can't come out because someone has 12 items in the 10 items or less line and they're in front of you and you're counting their groceries. I was like, mind your business, right?
Yeah.
It can't come out when someone cuts you off. It can't come out because you didn't want to wear a mask at the airport and we all had to wear masks or whatever. But it needs to come out when I'm trying to defend my family and trying to defend myself from the worst day of our lives. And really, when people ask me what I do, I'm like, I prepare people for the worst day of their life. And they're like, what day is that? The day where someone tries to come and hurt you or kill you. That's the worst day of your life.
Right.
So
100%.
and it doesn't matter if you're ready for it or not. Like who cares? Right?
Yeah,
Like
and
you
you're
guys
not
like,
going to get a warning most of the time. You're
no,
not going to get a telegram, a text.
no.
Nobody's going to tell you, hey, they're coming to get you. It doesn't work like that, man.
Yeah, we should all be so blessed to have enemies that are stupid enough to tell us that they're
To
coming.
tell you they're on the way, we're about to pull up.
we should all be so blessed to have that.
You know, another thing, man, with your, and this was a great one that I saw. I'm hoping I pull up the right one. My vision's better.
Sure.
So, this one, great.
Yes.
One. Very good.
Yes.
Very, very good. Explain that one a little bit, man. That was
the guy holding the weapon is Jamal. Jamal is one of my students, but he's also I'm also grooming him now. He's a going to be the director of our tactical division. He is a federal officer, SWAT trained federal law enforcement officer, former soldier, weapons expert. He understands firearms like very few people do. And so we did a gun defense, the gun from the front defense in class, and we put the video up. And of course, you got all the people saying you're going to get shot, your hands are going to get blown off. If you grab the slide, that's crazy. I'm a weapons expert, blah, 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 blah. You can't hold a weapon like that when it's being fired. So we're like, all right, we're going to go to the range. Jamal's going to whip out the firearm, and I'm going to grab it while he's firing a live round just to show, A, nothing happens to my hand, and B, the weapon goes out of battery as soon as you do that.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So while people are saying what won't work and this and all of that, we're going to prove it. I'm going to show you. And of course, all the people who were the alleged experts went silent mysteriously.
Nobody showed up after you actually proved it.
Yeah,
that was a great video. Great video.
So I want people to have that understanding too. Is like, hey man, look, when I show a video like this, I'm not trying to get you to learn how to do it from the video. What I'm trying to get you to learn is A, you need training. And B, should you find yourself in that position, if you just remember, barrel away from me and grab the slide. If you just remember that, your chances for survival skyrocket.
Big time.
Right? Now, here's the thing. They will tell us, and by they, I mean the peanut gallery on the internet will tell us, oh, those weapon defenses won't work. You're going to get somebody killed, blah, blah, blah. And then I have videos of untrained people, taking on and taking down and disarming gunmen. They don't even train. So what you're saying to me is a person who doesn't train can do it, but people who dedicate their lives to training and doing it and understanding firearms, both sides of it, can't do it? That's absurd.
Science. Yeah, that was great. I'm telling you, that was wonderful. Because most people, I'm telling you, the majority of the people do not understand that grabbing, what it's going to do, how it's going to basically once that one shot's off, it's
a wrap. Yeah, it's a wrap.
Now you got to hold on for good.
Well, I'm gonna be beating the crap out of the guy. So, like the other thing too is like he hold on. I'm gonna beat the piss out of him, right? Like he's gonna. I have to give him a paradigm shift. And so while he's still trying to pull the trigger and figure out why it's not happening,
right?
He's gonna be getting lumped up.
He's probably not gonna understand it.
No.
He's not gonna understand it once that's fired. He's still what my gun jam? Not understanding that now it's out of battery.
We have to get out of this thing where everybody thinks that every person who owns a gun is John Wick.
Right.
Yeah. No disrespect to Keanu. Like Keanu's a great dude. And like he really goes after like Keanu would be the perfect student, man. That dude when he takes a role like that, like you guys understand that dude trains like 8-9 hours a day, bro. Like that guy's serious. Okay, so but it's not like, oh, this guy's got a gun and everyone's tactical. It's like when we do active shooter training, we talk about how to survive. Okay, there's certain things that we're going to stack on the door. We're going to put furniture stuff, and if the guy comes in, we can high low and give. People are like, well, what if he comes in and he pies the door? We haven't seen one video like that where these guys do it. Why? Because it takes time. Number one, they're not there to stay there forever. They don't have an expectation of survival, right? They're trying to
Right.
create as much damage and carnage as they possibly can in the shortest period of time, and they too are dealing with the stress and the
Yeah.
fear and anxiety of having been in that moment.
Right.
So
I'm gonna pull a
so we
picture
have
up
all
here
these
too.
things going. So yeah, that's our shoot house right there. Yep. So
Awesome.
we have a shoot house and a classroom. It's that shoot house is not in a straight line. There's a hallway in there that's curved. This shot from it doesn't show the dark tarp that we put over it. So if I want to make it low light, I put a dark top over the top of it. There's a staircase that's attached to it that brings you up here on the front side and back side. So when we get law enforcement in or we get security teams in, we film them from up there. How did they enter the room? How did you check your corners? Sometimes we'll even put people in the room and have them run out while the officers are trying to determine friend or foe. We do that with civilians as well. So again, my academy is a combat academy. We try to cover every aspect of combat, not just sports. We really focus on self defense and everyday things that people will need.
I
It's
think
that
that's what
simple.
stands out so much, man, and why you are so successful, not only just with your academy, but the social media aspect, because you're doing something that there's not. I don't see a bunch of people doing that, covering everything like that, all the corners.
Well, people tend to stay in their lane. They tend to stay in like what the guy who makes cookies, he makes cookies, right? Like it's kind of those things, right? He doesn't venture off and try to make steak. You right? Like
No, I
so
got you. Yeah,
we're a little different, and I'm a little different in the sense that because of my varied background in different martial arts and different situations, now I understand. I think I have a little bit better understanding of what are people really looking for. And this is over years. Like I've been doing this for many years. Okay, I bought the school for my instructor, and it was like 40 students big, and that was back in 2008. But I had been training in the gym since 2001. So I've been around 7 years, and then I ended up buying the school. So I've been doing this for a long time as an instructor standpoint. And what
got
I've learned from people is I sit down and ask them, well, what is it that you're looking for? Forget what I can show you. Forget that stuff. Like it's not about me. What is your desired outcome when you train? And I think people should look at that. Like, well, is your desired outcome to be a cage fighter? No. Then why are you training like a cage fighter? Like, is your desired outcome to be a special operations operative and you want these kind of skills? No. Well, then why are you only training in that kind of stuff, right? Or I want to be a boxer, but I'm not taking boxing classes. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make sense. So what's my desired outcome? So my desired outcome is to keep my family safer, make myself safer. Yeah, your desired outcome is should matter more than anything. Should matter more than a belt. Should matter more than the lineage of the system that you're in. It should. If the system doesn't match what your desired outcome is, don't train in it. Go find something else that you're going to train in. Now, there might be sometimes in some cities where you have to kind of manufacture that. Like if you're in a city that doesn't have an urban combat kind of thing that we do, but they have a Muay Thai gym and a Jiu-Jitsu gym, then you may want to train in those and then modify those things for the environment that which you use, and then seek other training and seminars and stuff to help kind of bridge that gap for you. That's a great way to go about it. There's so many people who crap on Krav Maga. Oh, Krav Maga is bullshit. Blah blah blah. Blah. And these are all either insecure little children who do this, and they're certainly not people who've trained with a real Krav Maga and a real Krav Maga thing. Now, I do think there are problems in Krav Maga. In fact, I'm working on a thing called "What's Wrong with Krav Maga" right now. There are problems in Krav Maga, but most of it has nothing to do with on the mat. It's all the idiots thinking that they're going to run the system into the ground, or that the system is exclusively theirs. They can't take it that now there's an entire new generation of martial artists who come from other backgrounds, who have other training drills and other concepts and other perspectives that, when added to Krav Maga, make it so much more dynamic.
Yeah.
Right?
That's what the
Like
greats do. You make
that's what
something better. Bruce Lee, Chuck Norris.
100%.
Uh, the list can go on, but that's what great people do with anything,
Yeah.
any sport, boxing,
Well,
whatever.
you see it in culinary. Look, how many times
Yeah,
have you seen a recipe and it starts here, and then by the time it travels around the world, because of different spices and different local flavors and all that other stuff, you say, well, man, we have a dish that looks just like that in our culture too, blah, blah, blah. It's the same base dish that just made it this way for the people. So what did someone do? They saw the dish, liked the dish, or didn't like it and changed and modified it to their own needs and tastes. That's what we should be doing with martial art, especially from a self-defense standpoint. I have a great video of Emi, the founder, one of the few videos of him actually speaking English. because he spoke in broken English. And he held up his cane and he said, Krav Maga is this stick, and you can take the parts of the stick that you want. You can take all of it, or you can take some of it, but make it your own and make it better. Then what happens is you get these instructors who build a school like I built, and they belong to an organization, and then their approach becomes dogmatic. It's like, you have to do it this way.
Everybody
You have
does
to do it that way.
it
And
doesn't
then
work.
everyone just does it. And it's like, well, why? Who benefits from that when you tell a student that? Like, I encourage my students to go cross-train with other gyms.
Yeah.
Look, people are like, aren't you afraid you're going to lose your students? If they're going to leave, they're going to leave anyway. What do you like?
Yeah, they're not going to
They're
stay.
free. Yeah, they're free to come and go. Like why are you worried about that? Because your ego's out of control, right?
Exactly.
So, like, no, my guys, I tell them, go out to the world and bring it back to the farm, and let's dissect it. Let's chew on it for a little while. Let's see where we can use it, right? Let's see how it can help make us better. And it just works. It works.
Right.
You know, and now that we're getting more eyes on the academy, I think I don't know. I think I'm just going off what people tell me, right? I get messages and stuff from other gyms. Hey man, it's refreshing what you're doing. Where did you learn to do that? Or like, how are you incorporating these things? And I've had challenges from other people too. Like, there's one guy's really famous in Krav Maga. Oh, that's not the way it should be done. This is not what Emi would have wanted. Yada yada yada. And my comment, Frank, was, Emi's dead. He's not coming back. So whether you think he would have liked it or not is irrelevant. What is relevant is that we're here now. And we are training every day now, hopefully to make the system better, not just edify ourselves.
Right.
And
there's no one thing that works for each person, though. Even with that, I mean, imagine if you tried to take a guy like Mike Tyson, and train him to fight like Tommy Hearns, or like Sugar Ray Leonard, or
it won't work.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to work. It's not going to be successful. It's the same with self-defense. Each person, like you said, has to take the parts that work for them and their whatever tools that they naturally have.
Yeah. Principles matter more than any given technique. And what I tell people all the time, I can mess up a technique and still survive, right? My technique was off, but I can still survive. But if I mess up a principle, I'm dead. So what I mean by that, for firearm defense, we have an acronym, RCAT, RCAT, redirect, control, attack, takeaway. Now, we can argue the different ways to redirect, control, and attack, takeaway. But what we cannot argue is that redirecting that line of fire is the most important thing. So that's a principle. I don't care how you do it. I do care how you do it because there's some that are better ways than others. But in the fight, if it goes bad, I need to remember, Farrell can't face me. Wow. So I need to redirect and keep it redirected and continue to fight and not worry about, the technique was bad. Like, I'm going to jump out from behind the bush and be like, your technique was terrible there. Right? Like that's not a thing. So my thing is like, how about we just get better every single day at understanding what we're trying to present to students. And so that students don't leave here more confused than they were when they got here. And that they leave feeling like I have at least a chance should something like this happen. I never want my students to have to use a gun defense. That means some really bad, awful shit that happened or is about to happen.
Right.
But if someone puts a gun in their face, they have a fighting chance. And yes, we teach them to comply and all that. Like, yeah, of course. I'm not about to fight for items. I have insurance. I don't care. If someone's trying to take my car at gunpoint, I'm like, just fucking total it.
Yeah.
Like do me a favor.
Yeah. Don't make it where I'm going to have to wait for it to get fixed or something.
Yes, I don't want that. Total it. I'll get another car tomorrow. We're good, right? Like so. Yeah, I think that's more important, and then also to trying to remain egoless. Like, as far as we all have egos, but you don't want to be egotistical, right? Like, and this game will humble you. Like, being in the game, life will humble you. Like, I've been through a lot of stuff, man. Bankruptcy. We were going bankrupt when my wife was pregnant with the twins, and so I didn't have time to get depressed. I had made people, and I'm their leader. So I had to I have to take care of it. Right. So, but this stuff will humble you, right? And then you learn to appreciate the moments that you get. And then what it makes me do in the training, it makes me want to train even more and fight even harder because I want to enjoy every single moment with my loved ones that I can. Look, we get 80 summers if we're lucky. Anything after 80 is stealing.
Yeah.
So I'm at 50. I've used 50 of my summers. It'll be my 50th summer coming up. Okay. And I intend to use it and be around the people that I want to be around and leave footprints in the world, good footprints. So that when people talk about you long when you're gone, nobody's sitting around going, oh, this guy was this guy was that. They're saying, hey, you know what? This guy did the best he could to help make the world a better place. And I think that that's important.
I think that's what you're doing, man. I really do, man. I'm gonna pull up a couple pictures of your gym here, man, just to show everybody. Also,
sorry, is that hum in the background bad?
I don't hear it. I'm not
okay, cool.
It, so you're good.
Okay,
man.
cool.
I think you're good.
All right.
I'm just gonna pull up a couple pictures because I told you I'd try to keep. It's your birthday. I don't want to keep you longer.
Oh man, we're good. I appreciate it, man.
I'm serious.
Oh man, I really appreciate it, man. It's cool.
Of course, man. So this is some of the stuff you have in your gym. I'm guessing for
yeah. So that's our tack wall, and we have some of our resistance bands up there. But you got long guns, you have ARs, M4s, M16s, AKs, shotguns, blue guns, handguns, revolvers. We have training blades, sticks, and all kinds of stuff up there, machetes. And these are some of the things that we use because, look, we're dealing in a real world scenario. Most people are completely oblivious to, like, in Europe right now, that knife attacks are like on the rise significantly, like 800%, right? Why? Because they took guns away. So now what do human beings do? They'll find another way to kill you. Like that's we've been doing that. We've been developing as a species better ways to kill each other for thousands of years.
Right.
But the one thing that's consistent is intent. This guy has the intent to kill me. He doesn't have to be skilled with a blade. He needs to have a sharp enough blade and want to cut me. That's it. And so for all my fellow Filipino martial arts out there, I laugh at some of these videos because they're spending a lot of time, man, with the fancy floretas and all the spinning moves and all that. None of those things happen in any knife attack.
No, nobody's
doing They just don't. And so Dog Brothers is one of my favorite things to watch. Dog Brothers, the old scrimmage fights, because I would always laugh because at the beginning of the fight, it would look really, really cool. I mean, they're doing the figure eights, they're doing all the other stuff. But when the fight gets down, it just becomes who's swinging the stick fastest and who's got the most murderous intent.
Right.
That's it. And if you've got those things, you're probably going to be okay.
Potatoes of it. Yeah, that's right.
There you go. Like that. Like that's what it is. So when you look at that and go, damn, that guy's trained and that's how he's swinging the stick. Oh, okay. So he reverted to his animalistic, predatory kind of instincts. Okay. So that's the guy we need to be dealing with, right? Why are we like? I saw the video. I made a comment. I don't know if you saw the video. I made a response to Joe Rogan. Look, Joe Rogan is polarizing to some people. To me, he's entertaining. At least he's not boring, right? Like, you do anything you want, just don't bore me to death, right? Like, I want to do that.
Right.
But he made a comment about, well, you know, if a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt grabs you, man, you can all that Krav Maga stuff ain't gonna work. This ain't gonna work. And I thought to myself, well, two things. One, are there roving bands of Jiu-Jitsu black belts going out attacking people? Because there's not.
Right.
And like I've not seen any reports of this. If there are, then we need to stop them. Right. So that's right.
I'll ask my nephew. He's got a gym, man. And
so and then the other part was, you're basically saying that jiu-jitsu can't be beaten, but we see guys with Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belts and MMA fights lose fights all the time. Right. One of my fighters, who's a blue belt Brazilian jiu-jitsu, destroyed a Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt in an MMA fight. Wow. Beat the piss out of him. And I'm like, so what good is the belt? Right? Like, so my point is, yes, look, there's no one in Krav Maga with any common sense who's like, I can go fight a UFC fighter or an MMA fighter, highly trained MMA fighter with Krav Maga in their environment, in their cage. Nobody with any common sense is going to say that because it's just not true. However, outside in the street, when MMA guy or other sport fighting guy brings their tactics to the street, that's our world. They're not. Look, we had a Muay Thai team come to the gym once, and they're like, "Hey, we want to do 4 rounds of sparring." Okay, I said, "All right, well, 2 rounds of Muay Thai, 2 rounds Krav Maga." They said, "Well, what's the difference?" The primary difference is groin kick is live when we spar. And they were like, "What?" And I'm like, "It's a live target, right?" So after we sparred and we did quite well with them, and they were all hanging out, having drinks afterwards, having some water and Gatorade and all that stuff. They were like, man, we thought we were going to come in here and destroy you guys, but just adding the groin kick changed everything because now you can't stand in that wide stance and Muay Thai march down. Something bad might happen to you. And then when you added that, a lot of my guys also cross-train in Muay Thai and MMA. They're better fighters. So this is where I say for Krav Maga practitioners, this is where I'm highly critical. If you're a Krav Maga practitioner and you're not sparring, you are a clown. You're a clown.
A lot of martial arts, period.
Yes. But I'm gonna jam my people up first.
Right, got you. Yeah.
That like it, I get so tired of hearing this nonsense of somehow like Krav Maga's too dangerous to spar. You can't use it. Well, that's utter bullshit. Like, what are we talking about? Look, why sparring is important from a self-defense standpoint is I need to deal with the stress of a punch really coming at me that had bad intentions. I need to deal with after I got hit, then what? I need to do like a lot of times people fear getting hit, and the fear is worse than that actual strike. And so they'll fold up. We always talk about fight or flight, but those aren't the F's that get you free. I have a rule. There's 3 F's that equal 1 big F, right? So you got fight and flight and freeze. When you freeze, you're effed. Done. Fight and flight are actually a decision. I'm going to engage or get away. We can live with that.
Yeah.
But when you freeze, you're done. And so if you don't spar, punch comes by you, guys tend to freeze. They don't know what to do. It's not in their DNA to slip in and hit them back, right? So we're trying to build that in our students. And when you're talking about building that in civilians, it's much tougher than doing that with people who want to fight someone for a living. Like, but how many of those guys are really around? Like in every gym, what percentage of people would you think are want to get in a cage and fight another human being?
And even in way more people for exercise, boxercise, than I did pro fighters and even my amateur team.
There you go.
Doctors, lawyers, people. Hey, I just want to get in shape. I just want to, So yeah, no, I know exactly.
They're not about that life.
Across, yeah.
And so what I try to do is encourage my students. Hey, look, just at some point you've got to embrace this, right? At some point you got to embrace it. So there's little things that we do at the beginning. We'll do a drill where they're hitting a pad or doing something. And I come up and hit them with focus mitts, or someone will come up and hit them. And that first couple times they get hit, and I'm like, hey, you can't quit during the fight because the guy hit you back. That's what we're simulating. And they get it. They start to understand, like, okay, if you're the last line of defense for your family, you cannot fall, because if you fall, they fall. That's fighting someone from a completely different mentality who came into your house to steal your shit. Like, they're not. So the emotional connection is completely different. And now you got to develop the skill set to go with it. And all these people are like, I'll just see red, bro. Yeah, you're gonna get knocked out. You're gonna get mollywopped. That's not how this works.
Freeze.
Yes.
But it's empowering once somebody realizes that hit, that punch, whatever it is, ain't gonna kill them.
Yes.
And now, wait, I can still come back from that. I got popped. Hey, I felt it a minute, but I can still do my skill set.
I'm still standing. Dude, no, it's the great Elton John song. I'm still standing, baby. Let's go. Yeah. Like, I'm still here. Like, so if you don't develop that part, no technique matters.
And it doesn't matter who you are, whether you're a little housewife or a little guy that's a auto salesman, whatever. Whatever. I would get a guy once a week almost that just got out of prison.
Yeah.
Come to the boxing gym. Swole, yoked up. I want to be a pro fighter. I want to turn pro. And have you ever boxed for? No, but I just got out of prison, and I'm this, and I'm okay. Well, tell you what, I'm gonna let you spar, or nobody was there. I'll spar with you. We'll just see how you feel. I guarantee one guy that I can think of in all the years of me training fighters and working at a boxing gym stuck with it and actually kept training after getting hit once.
It's a tough life, isn't it? Like, it's a tough life. Like I tell people all the time, I'm like, my fighters suffer. They suffer during their camp. They suffer after the fight, physically trying to heal, and they get back in line to do it again. Most people don't have that kind of intestinal fortitude to do that. They're looking. Look, human beings are wired to do anything to get pleasure and anything to avoid pain. These are our primary motivational factors in all the shit that we do in our lives. We're either doing it to get pleasure or doing it to avoid pain. I go to work. Why does someone go to a job that they hate? Because they want to avoid the pain of being broke, avoid the pain of not being able to pay their bills, avoid the pain of being evicted or what have you. So they'll keep that bad job to avoid the pain. And maybe some of them are avoiding the pain of filling out a new application, updating their resume, sitting down in an interview. 100%. But if I take that same scenario, why does a person, would look for a job? Well, they want the pleasure of getting out of the position that they're in so they can afford more things, right? So it's pain and pleasure that we're trying to either gain or avoid. Well, the psychology behind that from a self-defense standpoint is I always tell people, I have to teach you how to develop that demon and you let him out when you want to. Like, so we'll do a drill. I'll put someone in the shoot house and I'll have like a mom come up and close her eyes. Say, close your eyes. You have a child? Yes. Okay. Imagine your kid is on the other side of that wall right now. And immediately the person on the other side of the wall starts banging the wall. Boom, boom. And now you hear someone muffle, Mommy, help me. Help me. Mm. The mom opens her eyes and she's like, I have to go. No. You have to listen to it. Listen to your child being absolutely ravaged and or beaten. Like, listen to it. Now tell me you don't want to train and develop your skill set so you can defend yourself. And all of a sudden they turn into a complete different person. This mom is literally looking for something to pick up and go into the room and go kill him. Like, okay, now you get it. That's the emotional content that we need, not anger, the emotional content. What is my motivation for being here? Just like a soldier has. A soldier is not in combat zone because they're angry at the enemy. We're there because we have a reason. Why? We're trying to defend our way of life. And we know that you don't win a war by dying for your country. You make the other guy die for his country. That's how you win. Yes. Right? Yes. So it's the same thing. So when this guy attacks us in our home, in the street, or wherever it may be, he has to understand within seconds that he chose a terrible, terrible person to do this with, because there are worse things out here than you, bud.
That's right. That's right. And having those skills is what's going to keep you alive, be able to protect your family and all those things. Coach, I'm going to show a couple pictures of your gym here and just tell everybody where they can come to train,
cool.
Like this, your location.
Look, we're in Las Vegas, Nevada. We have a 10,000 square foot facility here. We're at 1122 Vista Drive. Look for us at Las Vegas Combat Academy on all social media. We are on TikTok and Facebook as well as Instagram. We have over 1 million followers around across. So look, anybody who wants to come and train, you're more than welcome to come and train. We don't care about what your background is. We don't care about what your orientation is. We don't care about any of that. We care about one thing. Don't be a dick, right? Don't be a dick and come in here and learn to train and play hard, and you'll get along with everybody here. Some of the best people in the world are here. That's why I didn't take my birthday off. I came in this morning to train with some of the best people that I know. My students are here having a good time. They expect me to be here, and I'm here, and I'll be here when you guys come and train. We have a great staff, so come and train.
Awesome, Coach. Hey, man.
Thanks, man.
Thank you so much. This has been such a pleasure.
Anytime.
So
Anytime, bro.
Man. Everybody,
I really appreciate it. Anytime you want to have me on, I'll come back.
I 100% would love to have you on. I've got so many other things in the head that I want to go over with you and everything. We're going to do it, man. Everybody go over and make sure and subscribe to Coach's YouTube, his every other social media that you have. We'll put links and everything.
Especially that YouTube. I mean, we're really cooking on YouTube right now. We're like in less than 40 days, we added 90,000 followers. So really cooking on YouTube. YouTube's popping, and we're actually do some stuff that's exclusive for YouTube that we don't share on the other stuff. It's just to get people to watch and talk about it. So we're gonna be doing a lot of different stuff. So check us out.
That's great, man. It really is. It's wonderful, man. I mean, continued success, and we'll be talking again soon. Thank you,
man. I appreciate you.